Hey, everybody. My name is Lauren Harris. I'm a children's book author, and I am so excited to share my new book with everybody today. It is Bing himself, the story of Bing Crosby, the world's first multimedia star. And with me is Joe Everson, the brilliant illustrator of this book. So thank you for being here, Joe.
Yes, of course. And as she said, I am Joe Everson. I am well known as a singing painter. So I perform and sing and paint at the same time, but I also do studio work, as you see behind me. And for this book, I'm just really excited to be here so we can talk a little bit about how this all came to be. And so let's get into it.
Yeah, the reviews are coming in, and I'm overwhelmed by the comments people have. People who don't usually pick up a nonfiction biography are picking this book up, and they love it, and they are relating to Bing and this book. It's a new format, something that's never really been tried, to have what I call a microbiography with bits of information, quotes by Bing himself, and the beautiful gallery art by Joe. So people are getting a great experience with this book. Maybe we'll be able to break down about 5 of the paintings at a time today, and then we'll get to the rest of them the next couple of days.
Yeah, that's the plan. I've got my first 5 ready to go and looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, I see the cover art behind you. I'll hold it up here, but you've got it
Yes.
behind you. It's just so iconic, Bing. Bing Crosby is the most recorded voice in history, so it's perfect to have this picture on the cover. And I just love how you did this painting. When I started writing this book about Bing, I was just amazed that what kind of guy he was, but also that people really didn't know much about him. And so it was really important to me to find an illustrator who could really capture Bing um, in a painting, especially the eyes. And that's actually how I found you. I Google searched, I love to paint Bing Crosby, and you popped up.
I love it. That's so cool. Oh man, well, you're totally right.
Yeah,
With how much I enjoy painting the eyes and capturing uh, really the soul of the person, if you will. And I created a project before this, which is probably where this all kind of developed. Meaning that I really enjoyed painting some older celebrities and people that inspired me from my past, music and motion pictures and all of that. And I liked taking particularly black and white photos and bringing in color and life in my own way. And I think that that's why a lot of this project has really just come together in a really unique and refreshing way. And I love how you've talked about this micro version of it because it's exactly that. I got to read through it, of course, and I love it. I love how you get the tidbits and some of that deeper history and connect it with the art. It's really awesome.
that's beautiful. It's beautiful how you're taking the art, like you said, from black and white into color. It's like we're bringing Bing into the 21st century together. So I'm just so excited about it. So let's get into the book.
This one really stands out, and I think that's why it's got a nice, true pop to it that's going to draw the eyes in because of the color. They all do for different reasons, but this one in particular has that super, almost swag look right at the mic, and I just love how refined he looks. And yet, I've used some colors that might be a little bit different than what you would expect on the front side of things. But as you kind of get in close to the texture on this, which I think they did a great job at bringing all this out in the book, by the way. And you can see the lines and texture digging back into the paint. There's a little bit of spray paint on here. There's all kinds of different elements that I brought together to actually create this layer by layer until it became Bing.
That's perfect. And it's very representative of who Bing was because he had so many different layers to his life and they all just blended together. And he blended so well with the culture around him and the people around him. So that's perfect.
I want to tag team a couple of things back and forth because this painting, as opposed to the cover, I actually toned down and limited the palette, although it's still a really fun color in there. You've got some pops of purple and blues and teals and deeper tones. But I wanted to kind of get that starting point of, okay, we're at the beginning, like we're in young life. And for some reason, it spoke to me to want to get a little bit of that. You know how you'll see an old photo that has a sepia tone or something like that. I didn't want to go pure sepia, but I wanted to mute it just a touch and give it life as I go, a little bit as well. So anyway, I kind of did that, but I also wanted to make sure that you talk a little bit about what's going on in this so that you can give a little bit of the feedback of the story side of the art. But I'm really fascinated by this. I didn't know some things about him with baseball and other things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Bing loved sports when he was growing up. And this is good that you did it this way too, because we don't know too much about Bing's childhood. I mean, kids today are growing up with their people's
Yeah.
phones and they're all over the place. We don't have that about Bing. So we're taking, just his recollections and people around him. So this is great. But he loved sports as a kid. He was actually quite good at sports. I mean, he did a variety of different sports. His favorite, I would say, is probably baseball. He just loved it. And this is so iconic of him hanging out with his buddies because that's what he did when he was growing up. He had that reputation of just hanging out with his friends. And um, he was the kind of kid who did really well in school, but did not have to study. So he was outside a lot, doing a lot of different activities in addition to school. So this is perfect. Yeah, I love this picture of Bing. This is from his yearbook when he was in high school. And he had such a great growing up around Gonzaga University, went to the Gonzaga High School and then transitioned into the university. And this just reminds me of that and how much he loved Gonzaga and how much he appreciated the education that he got there. And so I think he would be really pleased to have this picture in there just to remember those great days that he was learning, being mentored. And as far as I'm aware, he is our only celebrity that has a classical education. And it shows in his movies and his ad libs. And he knew the classics, he knew the languages, he knew history, he knew all kinds of things from growing up. So this picture represents that for me. Just those great memories he had of Gonzaga.
Oh, wow. I think that plays in perfectly. I went with a really clean background for this one. I wanted to get a little more formal, you're getting into the education, the classical side of things that you were talking about. And that's so cool. I think that works so well because I actually use a more classical approach, believe it or not, to building this one up. I used kind of an old system with a brayer tool, which looks like a little roller, and patched in color slowly as I went, but wanted to keep the background super clean, keep that formal look, kind of like basic drawing class, if you will, alluded to on the outlines and in a few areas. So maybe like a study kind of a feel, and just really bringing out some of that. Once again, another way of looking at maybe original education and beginnings.
Yeah, and speaking of beginnings, the next picture in the book is how Bing got his start in show business. This is Bing with the Musicaladers. That was their little band that they had. Yeah.
The
So,
musical raiders.
Musicaladers. So Bing was the drummer, as you can see in the picture. This is taken right from a photograph that is so cool. And those striped jackets, we are pretty sure were red and white. And this group they all really didn't know how to read music that well. And so what they'd do is go down to the record store and listen to the latest record that came in over and over and over again. And they would study the parts, the harmonies, the beats, everything. And they were the first band in town who could play the latest hits. And made their way around. They went to all the dances and all the shows and everything.
Wow. Oh man. So that I resonate with that. I grew up learning how to play by ear and adjusting my musical skills and talents as I went along. So, I hear something and be like, man, I want to pick that up. I want to play with that a little bit. And I'm a little bit the same way with my art. I've gotten some great teaching when I was young, but I've really had to just dive in and experience it a little bit for myself and learn on my own a little bit too. This one was so fun. I think one of the coolest things, you mentioned it being a great photo that you guys got, and you did. You got everything we needed. It was so awesome. This original photo, I don't know if you remember this, actually had his signature across the drum, and I had to double check. It was so well placed. I was like, wait, is this on the drum or is this on the photo? And I was this close to putting his signature on the drum, and ended up not doing it because we found out it was a signature on
Yeah.
top of the actual painting. So just a fun little fact that people probably wouldn't think of when you're being an illustrator and trying to figure your way through what needs to be on here, what doesn't, all of that. But that was kind of fun to do. But really, really awesome piece. All these different faces and everything were so fun. I can literally hear the music as I'm looking at it.
Yeah, that's great. Those guys were Spokane's own, and that's so iconic for this area. So we have our last painting for the day. And this one I love because there's so much going on in this picture. So when Bing made it to Hollywood, he was instantly recognized as a talent, but he didn't have the same kind of approach as everybody else at the time. So at the time, the popular music, the singer would stand very far away from the microphone and shout into it. That was because electric microphones were brand new and they weren't really sure how to use them. So this is what they would do. But Bing's voice didn't carry quite the same way. He had beautiful tone and beautiful pitch, but he didn't project quite as much as a lot of other singers. So when he got a hold of an electric microphone, which this type was the kind that hung from the ceiling, instead of stand far away and try really, really hard to fit in and do things the way everybody else did, he did what came naturally to him and got very close to the microphone. And he would get up close and you can hear it. You can hear how that tone just comes through, and it's just like he's right in your ear, right next to you.
I find that super fascinating that he's that close because I grew up understanding his ability to really have that crooning voice that's so lovely, so warm, so close. And when I first saw this, I was kind of like, what is going on? What am I looking at? Obviously, we've got some kind of old school mic or something. And so it made it really fun to be able to paint something like this. And that's actually why I introduced the warmer tones. So the first few have had a lot of cooler, but I wanted to bring that in right next to the microphone and his hands and the closest there, and really just bring this like really sweet, warm tone and color to the canvas in that area. I even used some what you would basically call a highlighter type tool, for lack of what the actual term actually is, but just those super bright fluorescent colors to give it almost like it's radiating the music and the sweet tones of his singing.
Oh yeah, you can hear him here. And what's cool too is that we've got QR codes in the back of the book so people can actually listen to Bing while they're looking at the book, which is
that's right. That's so cool.
Yeah. Thank you. Shout out to Primary Wave. We thank you for assisting us in that.
Yes. Thank you, Primary Wave. That's awesome. If you get the book, you can listen to those tracks through the QR code.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you for sharing those with us. We'll get to the next ones tomorrow.
Yes. So much fun. We'll do the next 5 and then a final 5. Make sure you don't miss out on it.